Think you could outsmart a bullet? What do you say we find out, huh? I'm talking to you! What do you say? Huh? Huh? I'm talking to you!
Drop it! Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you, I'm going to be talking a bit about RoboCop Rogue City, and I'm going to be particularly talking about the demo here because the demo is actually out and available on Steam right now. And I just kind of want to talk about some high points. This isn't going to be a real review, but that being said, there's also a couple things that I did find kind of alarming too when I was playing through the demo, and I'm just going to kind of get into it. Let's talk first about the stuff I do want to point out as really interesting. The first thing I want to talk about is realistically the care of the lore. Taeon did Terminator Resistance, and I felt Terminator Resistance was actually done really well. Now that being said, it wasn't like the most gorgeous game out there or technologically advanced game out there or anything of that nature. But me personally, I really enjoyed Terminator Resistance. They kind of tried to expand on the lore while keeping great care, taking care of the lore and actually caring about the lore and trying to stay, trying to stay within that lore. And that's definitely one thing I've seen here with RoboCop Rogue City. And I want to talk about a couple high points of what in particular got my attention when it comes to that. First thing first is the cars. It's really interesting to see the old cars making a comeback that were the cars that were used in RoboCop 1 and 2, as well as RoboCop 3, if I recall correctly. The way RoboCop looks, the way the gameplay itself feels, it's not like a normal FPS game where you're running around like a maniac doing your different things, shooting up the bad guys. Here, you're a lumbering tank. And that is, in all honesty, that is RoboCop. I like how you can kind of scan and lock on the enemies, and it kind of marks them for you, makes it easier for you to point them out, spot them, and shoot them. It's a nice little touch, a nice little detail that they worked within the sense of a game, but also kind of made it feel true to the lore. When it comes to the voice acting itself, they were able to bring back Peter Weller, and I also believe, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but they also brought back the actress that played the part of Ann Lewis. Now, when it came to everyone else, no one else returned, just those two. With that being said, I kind of felt at certain moments that the voice acting was a little off for certain characters. Not so much RoboCop himself. I think Peter Weller actually did a pretty good job delivering his voice lines. The voice lines are very cold, very mechanical, and that is RoboCop. When it came to the Auto 9, the look of it just looked absolutely great. It sounds really good too. It's got a really meaty, really authoritative sound to it that every time I fired it, I'd want to stick my lips out like Mick Jagger and go, ooh. I just love the Auto 9. I love the feel of it. I also like how it's got the burst fire to it. That's a nice little detail, as the Auto 9 is actually based off the Beretta 93R, which is kind of like a burst fire machine pistol variant of the Beretta 92. Now, there's a little bit more to it than that. I'm not going to dive too much into the gun itself because I'm not here discussing gun history. I'm here talking about RoboCop. Now, when it comes to the gameplay is very, very similar to Terminator Resistance, and I really, per se, I don't have a problem with that. I felt they did a great job with Terminator Resistance, and I see a good job being done here with RoboCop as well. There is little side missions you can do, help different people out, earn the public trust, uphold the law, things of that nature. Now, there is a couple things that I want to point out that bothered me, and once again, this kind of has to go back to Terminator Resistance. One thing I want to talk about is the pros. I think it's the post processing effects. Really don't look the greatest. Stuff like explosions, rubble flying around, paper flying, glass breaking, things of that nature really doesn't look great. It works, it's fine, but it's not very good. Now, the one thing, this is the thing that's most alarming to me when it comes to the graphics, is the FPS was really not stable at all. Now that I did fuss around a bit with the graphic settings, understand that when I started the game, I just did auto detect, and I kind of went from there, and I started toning down a couple graphics, and I switched one graphic from auto to balanced, and that definitely improved the FPS. And the reason I want to point this out is because it was actually a bit alarming to see that, considering that when Terminator Resistance dropped, it ran like dog shit, to be honest. And I'm kind of seeing that again here with RoboCop Rogue City. Now, understand this is not dropped yet. There's still almost a month from the time of this recording until the game is released. So hopefully they're going to work on that. They did point out that they are working on that. They actually did bring information up on the Steam page saying that they are working on the FPS issues with the demo, and that hopefully they will have a fix for that soon. And now the demo itself, you can go download it for free on the Steam Workshop, or not the Steam Workshop, but the Steam page. I think the demo is going to be there for about another 2 weeks from the time this video gets released. Understand that this video will get released tomorrow morning, which it'll be the morning when you get to see it. So the demo will be there. I do recommend people like going to check it out, trying it. With that being said, though, with what I seen in the game,
You are calling for backup, aren't you?
well, I don't think this is going to be a mainstream FPS game, and this kind of has some RPG elements to it too, such as you can upgrade RoboCop and things of that nature. That's kind of a throwback to Terminator Resistance. But that being said, I think the only people that are really going to enjoy this game are the true blue hardcore RoboCop fans, and in many regards, that's kind of similar to Terminator. Now, I think that with the Terminator game, it could go a little bit more mainstream because it was more of an action FPS RPG. But I think there's going to be things that's going to throw people off, especially the low slumbering movement of RoboCop himself. And I think there's going to be other things that is going to throw people a little off because of the lore and the story and things of that nature with RoboCop. But with that being said, I want to say that I was correct. It was probably about a year ago when I first talked about RoboCop Rogue City, that I had great confidence that the game was going to be in really good hands, that Teon was really going to care, they were going to uphold the lore and things of that nature of the game, and that everything was going to be wonderful. And in all honesty, what I saw here is, yes, they've kept up with the lore of RoboCop. So definitely great respect there for that. Now, that being said, when it comes to time frame, we're talking this is between RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3. So it's kind of a sequel, prequel, what would you call that? Kind of fits in between two movies. So Nuke does make a comeback. Another thing, too, I want to point out that I felt was a great detail is there was this moment where you get ambushed and there's an explosion and it cracks RoboCop's visor. And it's actually really interesting to see as they did the cutscene and then went back into first-person mode. Went back into playing the game after the cutscene. You actually see the crack in the visor, and I thought that was just such a really nice little detail that kind of shows me that they, once again, even more driven to care about the lore and things of that nature when it comes to RoboCop. And even another thing is the man versus machine elements. They do touch base a little bit in the demo about the man versus machine elements. I'm not going to do a deep dive here or really ruin it for you. I just kind of want to put it out there that it's nice to see that. Because honestly, while that was something that was like really present in RoboCop 1, and it kind of faded with RoboCop 2, and then by RoboCop 3, they didn't really talk about it much anymore. Even when they did RoboCop Prime Directive, they barely touched base on the whole human side of RoboCop. So it's nice to see that struggle between man versus machine, because that was something that was really highlighted in the first RoboCop film, and I felt was always kind of important. That honestly, Alex Murphy did kind of have some troubles being the machine that he is, even though he accepted it. But anyway, folks, you know what? I think I'm going to wrap up today's video with that. I do recommend everyone going to check out the RoboCop Rogue City demo, but I'm going to be straightforward and honest here. I really just don't think a lot of people are going to find this game to be the most interesting game there is. It's not the fanciest game there is. They did a good job. It is a little bit step above, you know, Terminator Resistance graphically speaking. They did a great job of the look of RoboCop and the cops themselves. But that being said, I think, to me, this kind of feels like a fan service game. Which, personally, I don't have a problem with that because I'm a RoboCop fan. So I'm excited about this game going to be released, and I'm definitely going to pre-order myself a copy of RoboCop Rogue City. But anyway, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.